Today on Moviewallas, we talk about On Swift Horses and The Wedding Banquet. It's time for Moviewallas. Hi, this is Joe.
Hi, it's Rashmi.
And Yazdi as well.
Moviewallas is your weekly dose of film reviews, movie news, and general banter in theatres, on DVD, online streaming, or in the back of an airplane. If you love the movies, this podcast is for you.
Ooh. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Excuse me, I have something in my eye, which you would see if you were watching us on YouTube. Moviewallas is on YouTube. Please check out our YouTube channel. We're not getting a whole lot of views there, but we'd love to host you. There you can see our pretty faces, usually some food, and you can see Rashmi picking her nose during the podcast. All of our bad behaviours.
Oh, Joe.
I know. But no, please, if you could head over to our YouTube channel, even if you mainly listen to us on a podcast, just to support us, it would be great to see some numbers there. I hear that the like and subscribe thing, which every YouTuber seems to say, is very important. So that would help us build an audience there. And really, we just want to get more Moviewallas out to the world. We don't get paid for this. We just want to be famous. No, we just
maybe
we just want to get the podcast out to as many people as possible. So please do that for us. All right, that was the plug. We have a couple movies to talk about, but you also do have time for some streaming picks. So why don't we just get straight into business with our segment of I can't find anything to watch on video on demand.
All right, I have one. I have a really good one, actually. I'm kind of proud of my one again. My one is the movie from 2021. I love this movie. It was the film called The Harder They Fall.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Western with all, a mainly African-American cast, directed and written by James Samuel and Boaz Yakin. It had a fantastic cast with people like Jonathan Majors and Zazie Beetz and Idris Elba, Lakeith
Stanfield.
Oh, wow, yeah.
This was Regina King was in here. This had such an amazing cast, and it was such a cool story. Mm-hmm. It almost felt like a Tarantino-esque movie to me. I just fell in love with this. So this is now streaming on Netflix, and you too can watch The Harder They Fall.
Excellent. My selection is a movie that we talked about with profuse love when we discussed the best of 2024. And it was the movie which we thought was criminally left out of any kind of awards love. And it's the first English language movie of Pedro Almodóvar, which is The Room Next Door. And The Room Next Door has finally dropped on Netflix. And it's pretty much a two-hander. It's got Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore. And it's quite
a work of art. Just visually, it is beautiful to look at. And it's an interesting story as well.
Yeah. Almodóvar is incapable of making a bad-looking movie, but this movie the visuals will make you gasp, and the story of the film will make you think long and hard about mortality and what it means to be human, and at the same time, while it's dealing with all these, big themes, it's not weighted down by it. It's a very simple story. It's just a gorgeous piece of work. I really like it.
Good choice.
Good and great acting from all the actors. So definitely check out The Room Next Door.
Joe?
Good stuff. My pick is one that I think will be available soon, if not already, via Max and subscription. We actually rented it. On recommendation from, I think, a fellow film critic.
Yes.
And the movie is Companion. Stars Jack
Did you
Quaid
watch it, Yazdi?
and Sophie Thatcher.
And the least you know about this, the better.
Oh, Sophie Thatcher was in Heretic.
Oh, was she? Was that her?
She was one of the two girls.
I kept thinking she's very familiar again. I couldn't.
Yeah, okay.
and again, I'll stay spoiler free by only reading the very first line of the IMDb description, which is: a weekend getaway with friends at a remote cabin turns into chaos after it's revealed that one of the guests is not what they seem. So I'll leave it there. Again, this is another movie which I think benefits from as little knowledge going into the movie as possible, don't study the poster, don't study the log lines, don't study the reviews, because they all seem to be quite liberal with the main topic of the movie, which I think should really be a surprise to a watcher. But nonetheless, the movie was very effective. Rashmi and I watched it.
Really liked it
in the home environment, not in the movie theater. Both had a complete blast with it. It has twists and turns.
Very good.
It's very playful. It's a really fun little flick, and I believe it is streaming on Max. If not now, then very soon.
I've been hearing great things about this movie ever since it was released, and never got a chance to watch it. And I'm hoping I get a chance to do so. It looks like fun. Yeah.
Okay, so let's recap. Rashmi, your pick was
The Harder They Fall on Netflix.
Mine was The Room Next Door on Netflix.
And mine was Companion on Max.
Excellent.
Okay, jump into some reviews then. That's why we're here after all.
Yes.
So we have reviews of On Swift Horses and The Wedding Banquet. Let's take them in that order and begin on Swift Horses.
Okay, so On Swift Horses is a story about Muriel and her husband Lee, who are about to begin a bright new life, and it gets upended by the arrival of Lee's brother. And Muriel embarks on a secret life, gambling on racehorses and discovering a love she never thought possible. This is directed by Daniel Minahan, and it's written by Bryce Cass and Shannon Pufal, and it stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Jacob Elordi, and Will Poulter in the main roll up, the role, and then a few others. So we just saw this one. Yazdi, what did you think of On Swift Horses?
So a solid A for effort, but it's an overall B- for me, or even maybe even a C+. I hate to sound so critical. I know what this film is trying to do, right?
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, please educate us.
I think it wants to be The Hours. Remember that movie, The Hours, which was about 3 different women at different time points who are all kind of dealing with their sexuality, dealing with the fact that, they live in a time when they cannot profess their love for somebody of the same sex. That The Hours, with Meryl Streep and all of these, Julianne Moore and all of them. That movie had so much more psychological complexity. This movie lacks the ability to do that, and so I think all the actors are doing their best and they're firing on full cylinders. But ultimately, the movie really falls short because of the contrivances in the plot, which just sometimes tip over into the absurd. And nothing is more absurd than the last frame of this movie, which we are not going to talk about. But, when you have a very serious movie, people should not be laughing. People were laughing in the audience and the final scene because of what we were seeing. And that's a miscalculation.
I had to think back and I just realized, yes, okay. Yeah. Joe, what did you think of On Swift Horses? Shall we swiftly rush out and see this one?
This was a great novel.
Yes, it's based on a novel.
Yes, it's based on a novel, yes. And there was actually a book club at the screening.
I see, okay. So that makes a lot of sense because I didn't know that, but this plays out like a novel, and I think there are some things that don't quite translate to screen. It seems like a very literal translation of a flowing novel, right? Where in a novel, when you switch chapters, you can switch your brain from one kind of setup to another and to another and to another. And I think here the very literal translation, I think, of what was that style of writing onto screen leads to some jumps that we as the audience aren't prepared for. It's like the movie hasn't earned those moments, and yet we're required to kind of accept these characters as having changed from moment to moment, and we don't see them get there. So, look, I mean, was I bored? No. Did I like the characters? Yes. I think the performance here were all very agreeable for me. I really enjoyed Daisy Edgar-Jones. She did a wonderful job of this character who I believed her. Jacob Elordi, I think he had to trip over some little clunky moments, but again, it's a character that I really believed. Will Poulter, I knew who he was. I knew this person, and I accepted and believed in him. So overall, I have to say the movie worked for me. It's a struggle for me to recommend because it is kind of clunky, and it feels like it feels like a Hallmark Channel type thing rather than a work of kind of higher merit. But it did work for me. I got the romance, I got the drama, I got the...
I don't know what we watched. I struggle. Yeah, I get what you were saying, Yazdi, and that's why I said, can you explain it?
Right.
I get it, but it just felt like sexual confusion. And it wasn't necessarily a coming of age movie where you could kind of say that works. It wasn't a love triangle, which is what I thought it was going to be. It was just something else about three disparate characters that have some loose connection or a very forced, contrived connection. But the story itself, I didn't really see anyone's arc. I didn't know whose story we were following. It was equal time with the Daisy Edgar-Jones character and the Jacob Elordi character. Are they going through something equally the same? Is it something about their struggle together? There's some strange connection between them where they're writing letters to each other, but then their lives are very different. It just was a big old mess to me. It was like this was like an eaten mess. You know that pudding? It's quite delicious, but it's just a big old mess, and it's got lots and lots of things in it, and it kind of comes together. But if you leave it overnight, it just fails.
Are you quoting Clueless?
Huh?
Are you
No.
quoting Clueless? Okay, I feel like
that was a Monet.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just very dull. It was really dull. I couldn't wait for it to be over.
Really? I know.
I didn't feel any of the romance. I didn't get any of the highs and lows. It just felt like we went from scene to scene to scene to scene, and then that end scene was ridiculous. I mean, that was jumping the shark. I mean, it really was jumping the shark. It was ridiculous.
Which again, I think could work in a novel context,
Yes.
right? Where you accept that time has passed and
it was so dull. I mean, there's nothing swift about this movie, to be honest.
It is a longish movie, but like Joe,
it's an hour and 57 minutes.
Okay, it seems longish, but like Joe, I mean, I was never bored. I was very much with it.
Really?
I was just kind of going along, like, where is this movie going? And I think the issue might be one of translating what's on the paper to what's on the screen, and I think some of what seems absurd is because of they've literally tried to exactly show what's on the paper. I mean I like the conceit of the story, which is this very unlikely bond between the Daisy Edgar-Jones character and the Jacob Elordi character, and Jacob Elordi plays her husband's brother,
right?
And through a whole period of extended time, these two people carry kind of a bond, and it ordinarily those two characters should not have a bond, but they somehow feel some kind of kinship, and then the queer subtext kind of adds a little bit more heft to it. So I understand where it's coming from, but it didn't all click together, right?
It felt very weighted.
It should
It was
devastate
kind of
you,
falling.
right?
It was kind of imploding under its own burden of telling this probably quite a rich story when you have, hundreds of pages to tell it. But in the space of 2 hours, it was just kind of like falling in on itself, I think, for me.
And that's the thing. I think in the written page, my assumption is that maybe parts of this book were written in first person. I've got no idea, but I feel like the pieces that were missing were the characters' internal journey and struggle with the situations that they find them in. So, there are love triangles. I hope that's not too spoilery, but there are complicated interpersonal relationships where we never get to kind of feel the pain because the movie kind of moves through the motions, but never really dwells long enough on the passion, right? That might lead to people
and there's
having
plenty of passion in it.
No, I mean, there are sex scenes, but I mean, the passion in terms of the love that might develop between two people,
sure,
especially in the context of like an affair where emotions have got to be heightened and there's this sense of betrayal of the other person. All of those things are there, but we don't experience them as part of the movie. We see them as a story, and it almost feels like gossip of the neighbor. But you don't experience them as you would in kind of a melodrama, and it almost needs to be more of a melodrama. I want that.
Yeah. I mean, you should be devastated by the end.
Oh my goodness.
It's supremely tragic.
Yes,
it's heartbreaking.
exactly.
It's heartbreaking, but it doesn't. The other thing which really pulled me out of the movie was that everybody in this movie looked like they've emerged from a shower at all times. Like all the men, their faces were like they just got shaved, just got a fresh, clean shave.
That's true.
And Daisy Edgar Jones looked like she walked out of like a 60s Sears catalog at any given time.
Yeah.
So it looked like they were play acting, and you should have seen like crumpled clothes and unkempt hair and circles under their eyes, but everybody looked so perfectly lit that it added a layer of artificiality. I don't know what was going on. Did they want it to seem like, I don't know. It was weird. Everybody was so perfectly lit, even when horrible things were happening to them. I don't know. And everybody looked like they were. They didn't feel lived in.
I just didn't understand the motive of each character. Like, there didn't seem a clear motive. I said it before, there wasn't a clear arc. No one had changed by the end of the movie.
I'm not sure motives and motivations to them. I mean, I think clearly these are people who are living within the society based on expectations, and that's not who they are inside.
Right.
And so I think, when opportunity presents to explore that side, I mean, I think they take it, but it becomes confusing for us because, again, I'm sure within the pages of the novel we get to explore the inner dialogue, the inner monologue rather of each character in some more detailed way, and that was not conveyed on screen for us to go there with them.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of like, okay, I see what you're doing. I see why you're doing that, but I'm not feeling those feelings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I know what it's going for. I do understand what it's going for. I just, at the end of the day, horrible, tragic things happen to a lot of people, but I felt so bad for Will Poulter's character.
I did.
I felt so bad for him. But anyway, yeah.
I can't take him seriously as this kind of muscly bound. I love him in We're the Millers. That's kind of where I remember him from, and he did a really good job in that. Very comedic and kind of dweeby looking. And now he's really bulked up. He was in a recent Marvel movie, I believe. I can't quite take him seriously. I feel like he's really overacting and trying so hard that, again, that kicks me out of the movie.
I kind of see his trajectory as similar, or his intended trajectory as similar as Ryan Reynolds, who also started kind of this squeaky DB frat boy kind of thing. And then he's kind of, grown into a more reliable kind of leading man.
Maybe, yeah.
And I think Will Poulter is kind of going in that direction, yeah.
Okay, let's swiftly finish this one. Joe.
I want to give this one a pass because I can't. Honestly, I'm gonna say I was with it for its running time.
Okay.
Did I love it? No. If I'd selected it from a list of movies on an airplane and watched it, I would have been quite satisfied.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah, I would. It kept my interest.
What's your score?
So I'm going to go ahead and give it 7 out of 10.
Okay. Yazdi.
I would give it a 6 out of 10. I know where they're going. I think this is the wrong treatment, and I cannot fault this cast. Like Daisy Edgar Jones, so committed. Jacob Elordi, I mean, he could just be playing, heartthrobs, and I think it's, pretty amazing he's taken this role on. Will Poulter.
Yeah, it's brave. They're very brave, yeah.
What's her name?
Sasha. Yes, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
Sasha
and then
Sasha Kali.
Diego Calva, who was in Babylon. All of them, they're really pouring their heart.
Good. Yeah.
He was very good. They're all pouring their hearts out into this. I think this movie just needs somebody to reinterpret the material.
A script rewrite.
A script rewrite. And also, I know the title of the movie is Swift Horses, but please get rid of the horse in the movie.
Well, it's because of the gambling.
I know, but no, I have no problem with that. I'm talking about the very end of the movie where it's just absurd.
Yeah.
It's just
for me,
look, we're laughing right now.
It is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. For me, this is a 4 out of 10. I shall utilize more of the 1 to 10 scale. I want to swiftly forget about this movie.
I think you swiftly did.
Yes. Actually, it's true because
we were talking about what to record today. And
we were talking about what's on the agenda, and we said, on Swift Horse. And I said to Joe, what was that one again? And he goes, remember the one with Jacob Elordi. And I was like, oh God, it completely already forgotten.
No, it's in my head.
It's already, the RAM has, yeah. What a bad movie.
No, it's not.
It was just dull. It's very dull.
But I think it has good intentions. But
it's
it just
Hallmark.
doesn't.
It's Hallmark.
Yeah.
It's spicy for Hallmark. But
it would be a spicy Hallmark.
All right, moving along then. Movie number 2 is The Wedding Banquet. So Yazdi, I think you will tell us about that.
I will. So before he got very famous and won 2 Best Director Oscars, the director Ang Lee in 1993 made a movie called The Wedding Banquet, for which he was also a co-writer. And that movie, if people haven't seen it, they should check it out. It's very sweet. It's very cute. It's really well done. He, after making this particular movie, he came to Hollywood, and since then his star has risen. But it's fascinating to me that 30 years after the original Wedding Banquet, a new interpretation of that is come to theaters, and the story is pretty much identical. This particular 2025 version of the movie is directed and written by Andrew Ahn. And Andrew Ahn did a movie called Spa Night, and I think most recently he did the movie Fire Island on Hulu. And the one-liner for the movie is that a gay man makes a deal with his lesbian friend, a green card marriage for him in exchange for in vitro fertilization treatments for her. Plans evolve as the girl's grandmother surprises them with a Korean wedding banquet. Even as I'm reading it, that doesn't sound like a good summarization. But anyway, it's about these 2 friends who pretend to be married to each other because one of their grandmothers is coming from Korea. I think that's a better.
That's a good summary.
And the movie stars Lily Gladstone, who we've loved so much from the Scorsese movie, Bowen Yang from SNL, Kelly Marie Tran from the new Star Wars movie, Joan Chen, who we saw very recently in Didi, and Han Ji Chan, who won the Best Supporting Actress for Minari. So it's quite a cast. Sorry, I correct myself. Yoon Yoo Jung won the Best Supporting Actress from Minari. She plays the grandmother here as well. I'm dying to see this movie. I'm sure I'll like it. It sounds like a fun, heartfelt movie, kind of in the vein of A Nice Indian Boy that I saw and loved so much recently. So Rashmi, you're the only one who's seen it.
Yes.
Tell us if it is all that.
So I think, Yazdi, you will love this movie. Mm-hmm. Joe, I'm not sure. Look, it's an earnest, sweet movie. It's a little bumpy to start with, I think. And it kind of, within the first 12 minutes, you'll know what the end is going to be. But it's very, very sweet. It's very earnest. It has a good story. The grandmother, the performance is elevated just by the grandmother. She is like the star of the show for me, right? She just puts in such a great, the fact that she won the Oscar for Best
Minari,
Supporting. Minari was not was not a that wasn't just luck. She's an amazing actress, and she elevates the movie. It's actually funny. It made me laugh out loud, but I think it's more about culture and acceptance. It's all about all's well that ends well. It's just a sweet and enjoyable movie. It really is. It's kind of like if you're on the back of an airplane, if you've got nothing else to do on a Sunday afternoon, it's just a cute, sweet, I wouldn't call it quite a rom-com, but it's a good exploration of, who are you, what your values are, culture, what you're expected to be in these cultures. It doesn't quite have the pizzazz of something like Crazy Rich Asians, which was so glossy. It's more like an independent movie. It's one that we would have watched at a film festival and raved about. And it's not a million miles away from A Nice Indian Boy.
And the cast seems phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a great cast. I mean, actually, I don't love Lily Gladstone, and I didn't like Killers of the Flower Moon, but she's very good in this.
Yeah, I loved her in that.
Yeah, it comes together. It's sweet. It's fun. It actually made me laugh out loud a few times.
I think these are troubled times, and we need little movies which make you feel good.
Yeah. But you know exactly what's going to happen. Within the first 15 minutes, you're kind of like, oh, I know where this is going. Okay, but it doesn't stop the ride. Again, it's not.
And you enjoy
the journey. The journey's still fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I give a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of like 6 seems very stingy.
Yeah, no.
7 seems.
I was busy doing things, but
you heard me laugh out loud a few moments.
I saw you were quite enjoying this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
swift. That was swift.
Okay, one movie to recommend, one not so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will be back soon. I think the pace of movie screenings has picked up, so we're well into the swing of 2025, which is always
I'm
good.
glad. We've got about 1 to 2 screenings a week again, which is really nice.
Yeah,
good to be back at the cinemas.
Yeah, good movies are
please
coming
get out to theatres, people. I feel like the whole industry is struggling. It is.
Cinemas are closing.
It is. Yeah, we've lost a couple of good theatres in San Diego in recent years. So, and the most recent victim, I think, was the Reading Cinema, which again was very convenient for us for certain movies. So,
and it was a place to go for relatively cheap tickets, right? If you didn't want to pay and good food, you didn't want to pay $25 for a ticket.
Not at the cinema, but around the cinema.
Yeah, no, there's a great little food court there, nearby that cinema. So, do get out and listen to Moviewallas and check us out on YouTube if you can. Thank you as always for listening. So we'll be back hopefully in the not too distant future with more movie reviews and news and general banter. Until then,
hopefully some film festivals coming up.
Yes.
So we should talk. We should start kind of our plug for the IFFLA. I think IFFLA's coming up in
Indian
the
Film Festival of Los Angeles.
Yes.
Indian Film Festival of Los Angeles 2026 is coming up in 25. Yeah. I'm a year ahead of myself. Is coming up in, what is it, May or June?
May
Okay.
the 5th through the 10th, I believe.
Correct.
Okay. So if you haven't heard us talk about IFFLA before, just go to our website and type in.
3 of our favorite movies of 2024 came from IFFLA.
Yeah. So
last year we had incredible movies that we got to watch.
Head over to our website and type in IFFLA or Indian Film Festival, and you'll pull up a bunch of material. Last year's we did actually do video, so you can watch them directly there on the website. And the podcast may have disappeared from the podcast feed, but they're also available on the website. Reason I'm bringing it up is it's coming up. Get your tickets. We have said, Yazdi in particular, you have said, we've underwritten the quality of this film festival by saying buy a ticket to any random movie curated by IFFLA.
Yes.
And we can almost certainly guarantee that you will have a good time.
Yeah.
IFFLA they used to have a larger volume of movies. They've substantially streamlined it, but the good thing about that is that every movie is
Stellar.
is a firecracker. And I think if you live anywhere close to the Los Angeles neighborhood, or even if you want to drive an hour or two, just go and watch a couple movies back to back, or stay for the day. You will not be disappointed. Yeah,
we're in San Diego, and it's completely worth the commute. So do check that out.
And you're absolutely right, 3 of the most venerated movies, not within the Indian community, but within the global film community, we saw at IFFLA.
Yeah.
So
at the North American premiere, or some sort of a gala screening with the cast and crew.
Yes.
Yeah, and they often bring in like some of the top talent in terms of directors. Remember, we had Anurag Kashyap one time.
Yeah.
So they are not joking around. They do good stuff. Yeah. And their new venue is at a landmark cinema now, which is very accessible. There's
West Hollywood, right?
West Hollywood food court there. It's you don't have to. Again, if you've never been to a festival, you're not paying extra for a ticket. It's the same price as any other ticket. You will be assured to watch a great movie before anybody else.
Yeah, they do a really good job of selection.
Yep. And then in June, we are hoping to cover Tribeca in New York.
Yay.
So more news about that.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. We've rambled on enough. We've taken up half an hour of your time. Thank you for hanging with us. We'll be back again soon. Until our next podcast. Too many movies, too little time. A goodbye from me.
And me.
And me as well.